instructions to follow everything to the guidelines, and he has really strict instructions for us to make sentient happen. So I'm not alone, I'm a co-chair, as you can see. I do all the dirty work, and my colleague is the chairman, but of course she's the chairwoman, and we together do this session. We have 5 papers, all right, 5 presentations. Papers you will find in a fantastic hidden artifact. I threw away the artifact and I kept the USB. Anyway, unfortunately I have to start it off, but there's a reason for that, because I have to chair the session. So, welcome everybody. My talk is entitled, as you can see on screen, the Emergent methods, methodologies and tools and technologies for design and engineering processes, which is a very long title. But don't get your hopes up, because today you won't learn anything. I start off with a something is happening. Yeah. So, actually, what I'm trying to do here is to show you how far technology is bringing us. Every time I present, things go wrong. I never get, I have many dreams about presentations, and that my presentation is going to be the best ever and all that stuff. You probably have the same feeling. But already now you can see that the stuff doesn't work. So, am I scared now? No, I'm not. I'm just trying to go to the next step. So, my presentation runs beautifully on my screen, but the projector is saying I can't deal. So what do you do then? Then you start tinkering with technology.
Switching single mode.
And because it's an Apple, you have no control.
You have in the menu bar there.
See, there are many skilled people in the audience. They have all kinds of food. And now I go to this mode, which is also interesting, because now I have no image on my screen anymore. Like, you see, now it's black. Now is this my talk? No, it's not. Of course I have a presentation. But I have to fill the time, because lots of things go wrong, and my computer says you can't deal with it. So I'll show you the presentation from the screen. Now this is not really handy, right? But I just wanted to make sure that you're going to see this little movie.
What is happening there?
So I'll tell you a little story. There's a woman in bed, which is not a strange thing. And at the same time an engineer comes in and tells her a story about engineering and about life and everything, and design, and her dream will be completely spoiled, because she was dreaming of a future full of products, and life was happening and to the fullest extent. This is not what she dreamt actually. So we are all part of the dream world, and we dream about products and presentations that go wonderful. But technology doesn't serve as well. I'm not a big believer of technology. I see the benefits, and I also see all the, let's say, pros, but I also discover, as you have witnessed today, many cons, right? So this is the movie I just wanted to show you. It's called Pandora's Box. It's available online, YouTube, and it's a wonderful movie about how engineers are basically destroying our mindset. So, now I'm trying to get back into this mode, which probably will happen. I'm always very, happy with this. So I'm going to try to fix this for you guys and make it quick. See, my presentation mode says your computer died. But now I do it like this, okay? See, I've been, you know, through rough times for a long time, and I really don't care if things go wrong anymore. I press this, and it says this, which is okay. So I have to make a new slide to make it happen. Press it again, and it will even become worse because the mistake triples. So I will never be able to present to you my full presentation, but it's okay. Now I am an expert, and I want to show you. So I'm very much inspired by nature, and I'm always out there to find nature. But living in Holland, there is basically no nature anymore. Like, it's not pristine nature as we know from Humboldt, because Holland, the Netherlands, is full of shit. Infrastructure, I mean. So the thing is that if you want to go in Holland for true nature, is this working? Yeah. So when I get inspired is that if you talk about form and shape, this movie was about sand. In the dunes in Holland, we have a couple of islands in the north of Holland, and you can, if you are there in a quiet moment during the year, because if you're in the tourist mode, then you won't see this. But the shape and form of sand kernels is fantastic. I've never ever seen a CAD program doing it in this way. So even in water, this movie I can't show you unfortunately, you can see that all the sand and water and wind will create flow and patterns and shape over time. And it is a continuum, so you can just join in the process any moment you want, and it will create fantastic stuff. So I'm really intrigued by that, because if you would have systems that afford you this kind of design, you don't need designers anymore, because in between you and me, I hate the designers. So now for my next, yeah, okay. Sorry. So these movies were about skills and failures. So on the left you will see the skilled people, and on the right we have the same skilled people, but witnessing failure. I'm also very much interested in that, because there's a thing that's called skilled. I'm very much skilled, I can tell you, but I have many failures, as I showed you. So I was in Japan and watched the sushi master making sushi. I was like astonished by his bimanual manipulations, throwing out the sushi at such high speed and such high quality that I forgot to eat the sushi actually. Anyway, in Korea I witnessed a piano player without any hands and fingers and arms, but he was doing the tricks with his feet and legs. And then it popped in my mind, yeah, there's this guy, Uthan, U-T-H-A-N, that played Paganini with his feet. And he was playing all over the world, concert halls. So the skillness is part of our capacity, it's part of our capabilities. In this particular movie, there is a skilled metal worker who is turning and lathing all kinds of metal parts at high speed, and his workshop was like a professional kitchen. So I'm really much intrigued by that. But I always wonder at the same time how much of that affordance and that kind of skills are implemented in our current CAD environments and design tools and processes. Now, this is a wonderful example of how failure is engineered by default. In Holland, they wanted to take out an old bridge to replace with a new bridge. And the movie is actually online, you can watch it. But they had us all thought out. It is in the middle of a city. There's a waterway, canal running through the city. And there are actually boats there with huge cranes on it. And they thought, now we could just pick up the bridge, lift it off and put it on, you know, and repair it or replace it. But if you actually look at the configuration, it's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like you could have played with Lego and you could have seen what would happen. So everything collapsed. Everything, like the cranes, the boats, everything collapsed onto the houses. Major disaster. And I tell you, this is a company that is really well known and highly regarded in the engineering field. Alright? So that happens. Shit happens, right? Now, here we see people that come from Africa and Syria, and they come across the Mediterranean Sea to Europe, because they want to, of course, be part of this failure system. So, but they come in very shallow boats, and many of them won't even survive. So that's also a big failure, I think, of our policies. And here we see a fantastic example. I think this is the most rich example, because it works two ways. Here we have Usain Bolt, right? You know him as a pretty fast runner, I think. He's a #1. But this guy came from a long way. You probably know his history, right? Because this guy was like really, really ill. He has a condition that, I mean, if he wouldn't do anything to it, he would have been dead already. So he overcome that by sheer motivation and will in order to accomplish what he wanted to do. So by training and doing more training and become the best, he was able to come out of this misery, out of this hole, and got on the top stage of the world. At the same time, behind him, this was during the Chinese Beijing Olympics, is a guy on a fantastic piece of machinery. Right? It's called a Segway. It's a sort of dual tire machine where you have to sort of balance yourself. Now this guy was doing the best trick ever. Like he's a cameraman, so he was following Usain on his Segway, balancing himself, right, at speed, because Usain just had run his bout, and then he all of a sudden found himself in the physics of the real world, because one of the wheels got stuck on this rail here where the other camera was rolling along, and he collapsed onto Usain, and he almost killed Usain. So it will just show you that we are living in a world with many, many failures, but also we have the capacity of overcoming failure because of our beautiful skill sets. Now, where does this lead you, Robert? Well, it leads me to this beautiful movie. It's still not running, but here is basically what I tried to show here. This is one of these beautiful animals that will roll little balls of mud. I will say, I don't want to use the word shit, but anyway, it rolls mud on a continuous basis, and it sort of reminds me of this character Sisyphus, who was rolling up the ball onto the mountain every day, went home, and then of course the ball or the stone would roll back into the valley, and the next day he got up and started rolling this thing. And it's a beautiful story because it just shows you how lame this world is. Now, to be honest, I was thinking, how can I now express how my research is based on the foundations that I just tried to sketch you. And for me, you see, everything is about ideas. And as we sit here in this room, everybody has ideas. I mean, you have ideas about me, you have ideas about yourself, you have ideas about possible problems to solve. He is still working on his presentation, so he has probably new ideas to put in his slides. You know what I mean? Like, it's a continuum. And in the end, to generate many ideas, we also go through the ideas by associations, and making associations and position these ideas in sort of virtual iterations, and then from the next time on you will make extractions from it and form themes, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a world of conception, and you find maybe ideas progressing over time to become real tangible products or processes or services, if you will. It is really interesting to see that. In the end, we have to convey our ideas and represent them to fellows or stakeholders in order to make a chance on having one of these ideas becoming tangible. Now, this structure was maybe the underlying framework for making our tools, and these tools were based on computational assistance. But what we have as a problem is that if you want to work with computers, let's say in a virtual realm, you are stuck exactly where these blue lines are. Individually and collaboratively, we all are stuck in the interface of things. And that's why I think it's a fantastic discussion that everything should have an internet of things. But the biggest problem, and some of the papers in this symposium already directed that and found out that the biggest problem we still have is interfacing with these products and these systems. So for me that was also a no-go area, because it is really difficult to ascertain how much problem we would have for our tools to develop. Because you find yourself in a continuum, as expressed by multiple scientists and researchers, because we are finding ourselves in a reality, but at the same time want to make use of virtual realities and of mixed realities, and they should be highly interactive. As a matter of fact, I have never had any good relationship with my computer. As a matter of fact, I really never had any great relation with people. But at the same time, I'm working on it. And even with my computer, I'm trying desperately to get that relation going. But it still is not capable of understanding me. So, whatever I try, it is impossible to have that relation. So, in this continuum, you can see that in research areas, you can see that all these questions and research will lead to hypotheses and testing and analysis and results. But I haven't seen a great fulfillment yet in any of these technologies to bring us a step closer to what we experience in real life. Hence, we go back to that beautiful slide where I showed you my, my skilled people and the failure systems. And I mean, every conference I am at, I hear stories about optimization and about performance indicators and you know, about the machinery that will even become better because we take the human out of the equation. It's not going to happen because the machine is not to that standard. They have no tacit knowledge whatsoever. There is no experience set of the machine, and the best thing about the machine is that it has wear. So, another problem we have with our tools is that we have not yet the right bandwidth. So we're trying desperately. Yesterday I sat in a virtual lecture for 4 hours here on this campus. It was a test, so I gave my lecture on the virtual environment to 15 master students, and it worked. We had audio, we had video, and there was communication, but at the same time we understood that some of the quality you have to take for granted. You have to take a lesser quality in our audio, you have to take a lesser quality, accept a lesser quality in video. And we do that. We just accept it as is. But that's really strange, because everything that technology affords you and gives you, you just accept. Oh, it doesn't work. Now I have to find another solution. Oh, let's do a restart. Here, remember, the best way to restart Windows is to restart Windows, right? The computers, everything is restart. Push button, kill it dead, and start again. And that is how things work. So, for me, all these things are not to that specific human interaction that we are used to. Oh yeah, that's alright, thank you. So, many questions. I have a problem with human-centered design. I think it is very anthropocentric, right? I mean, it's not even coming close to what design really should be. I have a big problem with human factor design, because there is no human factor at play. We have a multiple of people in the world, and we're all equal in a sense. I mean, I've been everywhere, and they have the same desires, and they have the same needs and wishes, right? But you cannot human factor them because human factors limit the actual need for design to fit. So, and we build on stuff, right? This is the old Donald Norman realm, right? Where he came up from the world and he had all kinds of ideas and came back. It was a loop system from Donald. You probably know Donald Norman, right? Psychology of everyday things. And then we had Hartson and we had many others that we studied. So of course we made our own framework because we said, if you want to do a framework on interaction, the first thing you need is put cognition in there and emotion. I mean, make it very humanistic. Try to make the computer more human and more likable so that we can have a real experience and a real relationship with it. Anyway, I won't bother you with this for now because here were some beautiful photos of machines that we actually made. This one is the latest edition. So we came from actually big raw machines, computational machines that would help the designer or the user with their iterative processes. And then we made it now to a very lightweight, easy peasy, transferable machine. So it's just a plate with a capacitive button. We have a very small camera. And now anyone in the world with any type of computer, multi-platform, can use a machine, a laptop, as a potential iterative design machine. Now this is the stuff we do. I cannot show you all the hidden layers behind it, but trust me on it. If you go to my website, you'll see many movies. And here is a movie that I show you. Kids. We tested 10,000 people with our machines. Yeah, we are not scared. And the robustness of our machines are really there. And they can use our machines without any knowledge. No threshold. So I'm cutting myself because I'm a chair. Thank you.